to the family then, doesn't it? Okay. Hello and welcome back to a normal episode of Boys Gone Wild. We've entered the second lockdown. It's different from the first. It's a lot worse in my opinion. I've gone feral. When I did the last episode with Harry Monaghan, it was at the beginning of lockdown, right at the beginning. I had pretty positive. I quite enjoyed the first lockdown. There was a certain productivity I reached in the first lockdown, where some were saying I reached a Zen-like state that only fighter pilots or Buddhist monks reach, and I was churning content out, very much leading the way in the content pack. Second lockdown comes around, and as soon as I'm not here, as soon as I'm left alone, then I become feral again. I'm not, it's just the weight, it weighs heavy on my brain. And it's not even that I'm not sad, I'm not depressed, but I'm like a wild creature, like a paranoid, like furry animal burrowing away, scared for his life. There's a frantic anxiety, not like a low level, everything's gonna be shit, my life's shit. It's more like I need to do something today, or else I need to kill a small rodent. That's in the metaphor. I wouldn't do that in real life. That's sort of where I'm feral, like a feral hog. How are you doing, Andrew?
That was the breathiest monologue I've ever heard you do. You can hear the angst coming out.
Yeah, that's.
Well, before the podcast, we have a quick chat and see how the day's going. You haven't said any of this, so that's been quite a shock to the system.
Yeah, I've been feral.
You've been feral. You've been in your room a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I've noticed. Yeah.
Yeah, being pretty feral. I go to my room because I'm far too busy to not be in my room, but then I don't know what I'm busy doing.
I hear a lot of just podcasts on.
Yeah, there's podcast always on, so I'm always learning, So I'm kind of trying to. I might listen.
You're kidding yourself that you're doing something.
No, yeah, exactly. So it creates the atmosphere that there's conversation going. There's like you're reaching an end point.
And the illusion of productivity.
Yeah, the illusion of productivity. What I like about podcasts is like, well, I could do whatever I'm meant to do after the podcast, and then when the podcast finishes, I'm like, I'll put another podcast on.
Yeah.
And I can always see it's like, no, actually, I'm actually the podcast is the industry I'm in. I'm actually just expanding. I'm becoming more well-read.
Yeah.
In the podcast game, I'm a podcaster. Why wouldn't I listen to my peers? You know,
you got to taste a lot of fish out there to know what constitutes a good fish.
Is that saying?
No.
Okay.
I went with fish.
Yeah.
Wine, maybe that will work better. Yeah, you've got it in order to develop your taste.
It works, but I'm just wondering if it'll maybe catch on.
If the first sea bass you ever have in your life.
Yes.
You can't tell me if that's a good or bad sea bass until you've had a few other sea basses from maybe a few different places or different regions, perhaps even different countries. Then you know what a good sea bass is. Much like you up here going insane in your room listening to different podcasts.
Yeah, but I listen to loads of podcasts. Like I've been doing that for a long time, so I know what a good podcast is.
Yeah, exactly. But you're getting even better at knowing what a good podcast is.
Okay, so
I'm trying to help you out.
Yeah, okay. So if you ate sea bass every day, you'd have a pretty good idea.
You'd have a fantastic sea bass palate.
Exactly. I have a good podcast palate for sure. I don't know what you cunts listen to be honest.
Crikey, that's a heavy start. My mum, she shared the podcast, recently, and then she went through the others that she hadn't seen, and she refused to share anyone that had the word cunts in it. So we've just lost a big middle-aged viewership.
I don't know. I think in this age of skewered multimedia, you've got to like aggressively defend your niche and aggressively push away a cross-boundary appeal.
Right, and that is your justification.
So
of using
cunt.
Sorry, Mum.
I'm not sorry, because if you find yourself here, you listen for a bit. Is this small corner of the internet for me? Cunt. No, it's not for me. Good riddance. You know what I mean? You've got to. You got to follow paths of people who have been successful. Alex Jones. People like him.
Does he drop the C-bomb a lot?
No, but he clearly...
He brings an energy.
He's chosen...
So you think sporadically using the word cunt brings a lot brings the same energy as Alex Jones?
That's what... You've got to find... When you're finding a niche, it's not only playing to a certain crowd. It's the way to really build an identity is is building yourself in tandem relative to another group,
Right,
So
and who would be who the other
the people
group
who
are?
don't say cunt.
Okay.
And we are going to be for the group of people who say cunt, because it's
again,
the word
sorry, mate.
cunt is it sort of it
This
divides
is the opposite conversation than the one my mum wanted me to have.
It divides people because it's such a powerful word, and it should be used sparingly, but sometimes you've got to say it a lot. And I think saying cunt,
why do you have to say it a lot?
Well,
sometimes. What's the situation?
Because I feel there's a lot of people who don't like the word cunt who are listening to this podcast,
And
I
are
want
you
them
saying
to.
they're cunts?
Well, they are cunts, so I want them to stop listening and keep the cunts who like the show and like saying cunt listen to it.
This has been the most aggressive opening.
I'm feral,
But well, that makes sense. But because I use the word sparingly, I think. Behind closed doors.
Sure.
But is there's the sexual connotation of it. That's
don't know about that.
Nothing about that.
Don't know about that.
Yeah.
That's not in my ballpark.
In-depth topics and conversation. Yeah, well, that's the thing that can put people off it.
Yeah, but I feel there's so many cunty people that they've reclaimed cunt from vagina.
Right.
So in the way that
okay.
Yeah. So in the way that it was like. I don't know, queer was used as sort of like a slur word, and then the gay community say, actually, no, we're going to take that. Cunts have said, like, actually, we're going to reclaim cunt because we're cunt.
Right.
And,
so it's their own little movement going on. Okay. That makes me feel better about using it.
How have you been?
I'm quite jittery. I've had quite a strange day because I recently ordered some vitamin D tablets.
Yeah.
Online because I don't like fruit because I'm not a 6-year-old.
I'm a big fruit guy. You're a big vegetable guy.
Big veg guy.
Actually, well, wait. That's a big topic.
Yeah, true. That's where I knew we were going to get into. So I don't like fruit, which is frustrating, but also a part of my life that I have to accept. So a guy's got to get a different way to get his vitamins.
Yeah.
So
He's got to get his fix.
I've got to get my fix. So I've decided now's the time. I'm 23 years old now. It's time to get serious about my vitamin intake. So order some online. But what comes, they've been great. Every day I can feel it.
Can you feel it?
I can feel it. Fuck knows if you can feel it. I don't think so. Maybe.
So you don't know?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. There's too many other feelings going on and different reasons for those feelings happening.
Yeah.
I can't solely attribute it to the vitamin
It's
D
tough
tablets
because it's
I'm
like
taking once a day.
You started taking vitamins pretty much at the beginning of second lockdown. So, a lesser man, a less learned man might blame.
Oh, they're not fucking working.
Why do I feel anxious?
But also am I wrong in comparing vitamin D to fruit? Because isn't that just more sunlight? Do I not need to get vitamin C?
There's lots of vitamins you need, and fruit are a good transportation of vitamins. And I think vitamin D.
Are you trying to sound scientific?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, you've got to fake it to make it in the biz.
So you got to say cunt and fake scientific lingo.
Yeah, because it's we're going to be the.
I believe fruit are a good vehicle for the transportation of vitamins, but unfortunately.
But I've heard that fruit, it sort of carries a lot of unwanted sugars, and it means like there's a lot of shit like you can't just it's not just about taking vitamins, but I think this applies to tablets. It needs to you need to have other shit going. It needs to ride other food and stuff to stay in
like
there.
gut bacteria.
Yeah, stuff like that. So I don't that's above my pay grade, and I'm like, I care not enough about my health.
Yeah.
I'll die 10 years earlier. This is too much.
Yeah.
Like I'll take vitamins, but I don't want to. Also, they need to ride a light loaf of rye bread down your gullet. You know what I mean?
You love rye bread though.
I do love rye bread.
Yeah.
But that's I was clearly making a
besides the
point.
point.
That's besides the fucking point. But I have been getting into rye bread a lot.
But that is because I'm good because I like juice. Okay. So you'd think that's the best way to kind of get your fruit intake. But then this was when I was living at home with my mum. And so she'd started getting me juice to get that in. And then this is how my family works.
Well, but this is from concentrate, isn't it? You swine.
I don't know.
There's fresh juice, which is okay.
I'm not putting fucking squash in a blender in the morning.
What?
No, as in a squash, the fruit. Squash juice.
What, you mean the fruit squash?
Yeah, it was a joke. Yeah, like a squash.
Oh, I thought you meant like orange squash.
Yeah. In hindsight, it was a confusing joke.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not putting a bloody melon in the
No, but
blender.
I mean, you can get fresh orange juice. It's more expensive, and that's why I don't do
So why would you presume I was drinking from concentrate? Who do you think I am?
I think you're a fucking Philistine.
It's true. It's true. The guy that's consumed very little
I think
fruit
you're pond scum.
I am. But to be fair, if you knew me / looked at me, I think you think that's the guy that drinks juice and concentrate.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I hold my hands up. That is definitely true. But so then my mum was telling my grandma about it.
Yeah.
Andrew's getting his. Let me put that down. Sorry. Yeah, perfect. We're killing it.
Nice.
I get that you've had some different guests on, but it doesn't mean you can treat me like a fucking imbecile. So, my mum tells my grandma about this, and Andrew's getting his fruit in via his juices from concentrate or not concentrate, and then grandma goes, "Well, are you concerned about the amount of sugar he'll therefore be consuming?" And at that point, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. It's impossible to be healthy. Every single time, like diets change, the recommended diets change on a regular basis.
Science is
sometimes
always
it's good
out.
for you, sometimes it's bad for you. Fuck knows. I mean,
Yeah.
you kind of get the basic idea of what is good for you. Stick to that. Go off your instincts. Don't listen to anyone in authority.
Yeah, well, this is because my mum's reading a new book which is saying everything you knew about health is wrong, and apparently it's great.
Provocative.
It's provocative, but then like all the stuff, it's basically just saying, yeah, everything. But I bet, and I think a lot of the stuff they're saying is probably more advanced than. I don't think it's a sham book. I do still, but
They'll be wrong.
Even if you believe, there's going to be, if let's say we accept that book. There's going to be another book saying everything you knew about health was wrong.
Everything you knew about the health book that said the health was wrong is wrong.
Yeah, exactly. It just doesn't, because it just keeps changing. And I think you kind of, there's so many things we've been told that would be.
Do we like fat?
Like, yeah, do you remember how like bread is like now the worst thing for you? That didn't used to be the case.
Is that now the case?
Yeah, bread's fucking awful for you.
What's in it?
Carbs.
Yeast,
Carbs the real cunt.
Because when you say there's a revolution around the word cunt, I don't think you're talking about bread. Which is the fucking problem of how you're using it.
I'm trying to channel the energy of the listeners. I'm trying to be... Everyone's isolated. Everyone's at home. And they want some guidance to... They don't want guidance, actually. They want... No, I think we're sick of people telling you, what to do, where to go. We're not at that stage anymore. They just want someone on their YouTube, whatever, on their Apple Podcast, Spotify, available on all platforms, to be channeling their energy. And at the moment, I think this is what my listeners' energy is. And it's
which is,
coincidentally mine, which is calling carbs cunts.
Yeah, no, okay, I can back that.
Yeah.
But so with these vitamin D tablets came these 2 free sachets, these sample sachets of, and they contain one of those, so like a Barocca. A little tablet that you can then put in your drink in the morning, and the fizz, and you can almost feel the energy coming into the water, and then you consume that, and you're meant to have an energetic day, or you kind of wake up. I was feeling a bit sleepy. I had another early wake up this morning for work. Woke up, had a coffee and that, and about an hour later, I noticed that I was just jogging my leg continuously, and I was like, "Oh, this is quite much." My heart was going, and I kind of forgot that I'd had it. And then I'd realised I've been scrolling on Reddit for a long time looking into conspiracy theories, whilst also doing double the amount of work I usually do. And
really?
Yeah,
so you're procrastinating
I was doing everything. I DJ'd for a bit. I went out into the garden and did some press-ups. That's not true.
No, okay.
But I was just doing everything I wanted to do at that specific moment at the same time.
What do you put it down to?
Well, the fucking tablet thing.
Do you think it works then?
Well, yeah, but too much. It was honestly like doing drugs. It was really aggressive.
Okay.
And then I realized I had the podcast later, so I haven't stopped drinking coffee as well, because I didn't want to have like a post-work crash.
Yeah.
Just when I'm coming up here to do the podcast. So I've had a stupid amount of coffee.
So you're going to have a big crash, and we just need to try and hope we can get through
Hopefully
this episode.
we get through like
this episode before
minutes.
it's just like
before I then just start going up, go feral.
Okay. So you're a fan of vitamins. You at the moment.
I would recommend vitamins to people. I think it would be negligent broadcasting if we didn't recommend people consume vitamins.
But then I also feel, fine. You're working from home and stuff. I do feel like a lot of these things, it'd be good to like be more productive and kind of. But I think it's just going to give me more energy to not do anything.
What, by taking vitamins?
Yeah, I just don't.
Like I've done my.
There's nowhere for me to go.
Yeah,
and it's just like, what am I? What's my get up and go going for? What am I using it for?
Yeah, okay. So you're sitting in your bed, you're feeling sorry for yourself, you're not being productive, you're not being healthy. You then reach over, take a vitamin D tablet, and then you're content.
Then I'm up, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to feel sorry for myself with a fucking.
Okay. I thought that you'd feel content that you've done the things that you need to do that day by taking the vitamin D tablet, and then just go back to bed.
Yeah, maybe. I don't take vitamins, so.
Well, we discussed this. You taking vitamins at one point. You were. I thought we.
Yeah, I will.
I
will do. But not all of us have that vitamin cash just rolling around. Not all of us can spare fucking, can
Money
just
in
throw
the bank.
around vitamin
Money
D.
in
Oh,
the
you
bank,
name it.
baby.
Vitamin F, fucking shove it up my arse.
Get it in my locker. Yeah, I'm ready to expand my vitamin consumption. I want to be one of those guys who has massive bottles of them kind of littered around, and they kind of freak out if they don't have the exact right vitamin in the exact amount, at the exact time of the day that they need it.
Yeah. So you want to be like an
Obsessive.
old person, the last 10-year stretch of their life in a care home where they open up their days with like Monday, Friday, Tuesday, Wednesday on that little box, and they have to take like 8 pills and stuff. You want to reach that
Exactly.
level.
I couldn't have put it better myself.
As a young man.
As a young man.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, it's good we're talking about this because we often go from topic to topic, but fundamentally it's a men's mental and physical health podcast.
I fucking say that line. Literally, having you asked the question of how you doing, instantly I was like, he's going to say it's a men's mental and physical health podcast.
So it's good that we're educating young men and women
about the use of vitamin
D. Vitamin D, because this is like Joe Rogan. It's exercising your mind intellectually and encouraging you to follow your mental health as he sits there drinking a whiskey and vaping excessively.
Exactly, but it's one step at a time.
It's one step. We're not saying we're the finised product.
Because that would be my men's mental and physical health stance, is that you can continue all your vices as long as you try and get some good things in there as well.
Yeah, because you're very committed to your vices.
Absolutely, more so than anything.
Yeah, that's sort
anyone.
of. So I like it is just sort of pissing on a fire a little bit by
absolutely.
throwing vitamins on.
If the pissing on the fire buys me like 20 years, it's sound. I'm happy.
That was a
Pretty
dark.
Pretty dark.
20 years was a long time. That was pretty. This is
yeah.
only just vitamins. I assumed you'd be saying like the joke was that it would be like a year or so, but 20 years is a great deal.
And there's the optimist in me.
20 years.
20 years, 30 years. I'll take
not
it.
Much,
not
but
a lot.
only like a third of my life extra.
Yeah, Jesus. I guess that is 60 to 80.
But lazy with.
Well, I
numbers.
believe in the power of vitamin D.
So is that how you're doing, or do you have anything else to say on how you're doing, or is that pretty much?
I'm all right. Like I don't. Second lockdown. I think I've said this before in the podcast, but I think for me, I'm just bored of it. In terms of like not in terms. I'm bored of being at home. I'm bored of the virus. I'm bored of. It used to be fun, exciting news, and now it's just boring. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of the second lockdown. I'm weirdly okay with. I don't feel as glum as maybe the first.
Yeah. But you've got. Do you think your job's helping? Just give you some direction. But you don't like your job, so. But what's giving you this fucking kind of frustrating contentness? You pig.
Good question. I think I've.
Thank you.
Oh my god.
Thank you very much.
I think because I've been weighing up what to do in my traditional career for a while, and I think I kind of leaning towards doing a PhD. I think a bit of direction in these times is a good thing. So I think actually even like having taken 0 steps towards it, even having an idea of where life is going, is a big help. So maybe that's a tip for everyone.
Yeah, what?
Listening.
So because
it's not easy, but I mean, even just taking the time, this allows you to take the time to think of what the fuck is happening in the future.
Yeah, but it's like it's not like you've got like a month to think about the future because during normal life, if you had like a month isolated, you might have a month to think about the future. But because we have no idea what the future is, it's kind of like you've got a lot of time to think about what the future might have been. Yeah, but we just also know that none of our plans. Yeah,
I think I'll come back in a week after having looked into it and be in the same place as I was. Of this is terrible.
Yeah, because I don't know. I remember during the first lockdown, there was a big push by like woke mental health people who are saying like the key thing is don't feel the pressure to be productive and like don't feel because there's like a lot of pressure that you should use this time to find new skills and stuff like that.
Somehow it seems like you're going to have a problem with that.
No, this is actually I'm opening this up because I'm not the finished article and I'm ready to learn.
Comment your opinions on Horacio's character in the comments.
Please, I'm ready to learn.
Is
I'm
it lies?
ready to learn.
Name 5. Can you name 5 things that you think's wrong with him?
Yeah, go ahead. Well, let's put that into my mental health right now. That'd be nice. Let's chuck that in the mix. Let's put that in the blender. A bit of paprika. Let's spice up a little bit. Spice up my morning smoothie. But I always found that interesting because it was like that. I was like, yeah, that is right. This time is awful, and you should find your way to like self-care however you can. But then the only way I managed to stay sane was by being really productive in the first lockdown.
But you're very specific.
Yeah, I guess so. That's why I'm opening it up to the auditorium.
I think a lot of people aren't because they... well, you share the thing with a lot of people in that... but to a more heightened degree is that you have a terror of not being productive.
Yeah.
But then are incredibly unproductive as a person.
Yeah.
So I feel like but a lot of people don't have as much of a fear of not being productive.
Yeah.
Nor do they have the guilt associated with not being productive.
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of people will have... I think everyone has a fear, like, doesn't like not being productive, but then their view of being productive is like going for a jog, you know, or like, you know, maybe reading articles or like, I don't know, whatever fucking content normal people do. And like their idea is like, I've had a really productive day, and then I'll speak to like normal people and
whereas yours is like taking a video of yourself naked in bed.
Yeah, or something like that. It's like, okay, cool. I've spent 2 hours, you know, working out. What's that for?
Have you?
No, this is a hypothetical.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's like when you speak to normal people,
your men's mental and physical health.
Yeah, I guess so. But it's like normal people will be talking about how like, oh, I've had a really productive day. I did cooking. I did all of this. And it's like, yeah, but what does that mean? Are you any closer to your fucking goals or your actual thing? Or is that just like, so you can get through this day and feel kind of like that endorphin rush of like a day well done? Have you grown as a person? Has your spirit come close to the surface? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's quite a fascist outlook on things.
No, but I'm saying, no, it's more, I don't know, I feel like when people say, I've had a productive day, I've done all of this, yeah, but what about the journey of self? Are you any closer to finding what it is who you are?
People can find themselves in the smallest of tasks. Something like cooking, something like, exercise is a kind of different thing because it just makes you, I get your point. Because something like exercise allows you to feel good in your body. It's like a physical chemical endorphin thing that gets you to feel better. I get that's not like this progression onto the grand narrative.
It's important
of
to have
the truth
alongside
of self and reality.
But what about the truth of self and the reality of existence? You need to be like doing your jog and then getting back to the real shit.
What about doing your job then coming back and meditating?
Yes, meditating's fine. It's cool.
But you're very much grounded in practical objective.
No, I'm still like I'm down for meditation, but only if it gives me some dank ideas. Do you know what I mean? It's
okay.
Which I don't think.
But the whole point is that you clear your thoughts. I wouldn't meditate to find new material.
What are you clearing your thoughts for?
You're fucking inner peace, as in like, because it's about feeling better within yourself rather than trying to combat the reality around you.
So with the whole inner peace thing and like
that whole jam,
that whole fucking
biscuit.
with that whole that kind of the Eastern spirituality that's come a lot more into Western thought of like you know, the reorientating goals of life and finding happiness, that being in the present, minimalizing your life, and like focus on what really matters and all that kind of stuff. I think that all sounds great, but do you agree that I sort of want to achieve all my goals and then have that realization and then shit on my whole life before, but I need to have achieved all my goals first? Do you find that? So like my dream is that I work I do the vapid capitalist route of trying to be successful and follow my dreams. And then when I'm like 45, I then, I don't know, go to China and come back and say, oh, by the way, all of that success I had means nothing. I actually am now super spiritual and live in the present, live in the moment. I'm so much happier now. But everyone's gonna be like, oh, wow, he's so deep. But he's also managed to succeed in the other way, so I trust him. Like, if you find inner peace when you're like 21, and it's like, yeah, I didn't do anything, but I am really peaceful and at one with myself. But yeah, I didn't really do anything.
So you just want to become your dad? That was Notice I let you go through all of that because every single thing you just said is exactly what your dad has done.
Yeah.
In a different way.
Yeah, in a different way. I guess.
That was fucking great.
I guess so.
That was fucking great.
How terrifying is that? How terrifying is that?
That was a real, like, if both of you had sat down when you're that age, or if your dad had even sat down now after doing that, that's exactly what he's fucking done. Word for word what he's done. Word for word.
Yeah, we all become our fathers, you know, at the end of the day.
But I agree with you I do agree.
Yeah.
In terms of, I think I'm also quite driven. Okay, because if the best way to maybe term this is in your inner reality versus the objective reality around you.
Don't say it like that. Own it.
No, I can't.
Own it.
Own it. I don't want.
No, don't.
I don't want to. I don't want to own it. But I've definitely got the kind of a capitalistic drive within me in terms of wanting to do something. Well, ching ching. It was quite a bit of a surprising noise that came out of my mouth.
Ching ching. You was kind of scared. Yeah.
Yeah. Ching ching. But no, I do want to, achieve whatever that may be. Actually, that's the problem that I think I'm grappling with. What is achievement in that? Because I'm definitely someone who isn't. I don't think you are either. Like we're not kind of driven by the classic capitalist idea or dream of success equals money and power.
Definitely not that.
Definitely not that. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here doing this.
It's just a cash racket.
But there is still that urge to continue, as in do something in the world rather than do something within yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think I'm probably more inclined to be more in my pursue the other way a bit more, pursue the inner self.
Sure.
But I like God. But then is it too late? The older you get, do you know what I mean?
No. That's what I mean. It's like, do you not also find that inner peace shit? When I see someone doing it at 20, I'm like, it's a bit of a cop out. Because we all know the Buddhists are right. Like deep down, no, we all know.
I'm agreeing.
Do you know deep down we all know this is not a civilized way to live, and it's not the most.
Something's terribly wrong.
We all know this is fucked. This is fucked. The fact that we've got lights and we're projecting out, and I'm looking at views and waiting for comments and stuff. We know this isn't how you're meant to live, and we see Buddhist monks. We all know, that they've worked it out, but also. I still say, okay, fine, you're happier than me, you're more fulfilled than me, etc., etc., etc. But if you just grew up into that, I'm still like, you didn't manage to do anything really. Like so you're just chilling in a mountain. Like do that after you've lived a horrible hedonistic life where you've experienced all the highs and lows, and then fucking.
It's almost like a tennis player who plays one game and then he claims he's undefeated for the rest of his career and doesn't play any more games because he hasn't experienced that kind of competition.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah,
you're saying you've got to get out there. We know you're right.
We all know it's right. It's like veganism. We know you're right. We know, obviously. Obviously, we shouldn't eat animals if we don't have to.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to stop.
So why would veganism be the same as that? Because you like meat?
No, well, it's more because it's like...
it's too easy. Yeah, Horatio called veganism too easy.
Yeah, sometimes you're like, yes, you're right. But
sounds a lot like post-rationalization.
Yeah, I don't know. When you watch a film, you want the right to be the conclusion.
Yeah, okay. You need the beginning and the middle before you get to the end.
Yeah, who wants to watch a film where it's like the truth and the
main character knows the answer in the first scene? Oh, cool. Yeah, that makes more sense. Roll credits.
So yeah, I just kind of it's the same with like social media. I can't wait until I've got enough success so I don't have to be on social media, and then I'll go and talk about how awful social media is, and it's like the way that famous people always try and pull the ladder up and say, oh no, you don't want this. Oh no, this isn't what it's cracked up to be. Oh no, you don't want this. It's like, let me find out, and then
don't tell me what to do.
No, it's more. I want to be on that side, telling everyone else how shit fame is. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to be stuck here listening. Oh, fame isn't good. Okay, cool. I'm going to leave it.
You're quite aggressively in your own mind. That's what that all sounds like. You want to find things out for yourself. You want to find things out for yourself of which you already know the answer for.
Yeah, sort of. Because I already know, having meeting semi-famous people, or being in an industry where you can understand, have a better understanding of famous success in that way. I already know it's not what it's cracked up to.
You already know what it's like to be famous and successful.
No, I have a vague idea. The picture becomes a bit clear. I've started. Not as much as anyone who's reads Hello magazine and thinks it's I have a better idea. I know what these deviants are like in their personal lives.
Can you give us a name?
Okay. So 5 people. Great if I just slagged off random.
That'd be fantastic. We get some views.
But I've always thought it's really. I find it really funny when famous people try and dumbed down fame when it's obviously better than not fame.
Yeah, it's insulting.
It's obviously better.
It's fucking insulting.
And it's for you to go, oh no, I can't go anywhere.
You just lose your anonymity.
Fuck
I
off,
just want
man.
to be a normal person.
Mate, you're hanging out with Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
You're mates with Jeff Goldblum.
Exactly, fuck
I
that.
don't fuck my anonymity. I want to be at Jeff Goldblum's house.
Yeah, I do want to be at Jeff Goldblum's
Do you know
house
what I mean?
also. Yeah, he's got a jazz
And also,
album.
don't you
He does jazz?
Yeah, I know Jeff Goldblum does jazz, and I want to listen to him play the piano fucking in a hotel lobby.
Also, just a quick recommendation for any viewers out there. H. John Benjamin, who's like a comedian and does loads of voices like Archer and Bob's Burgers. He's released a jazz album. And it's I think I can't remember the exact title, but it's like I Can't Play the Piano, and he gets world-renowned jazz artists in, everyone other than the piano, and he plays along with them, and he can't play the piano, and it is one of the most amazing, gorgeous, poetic things I've ever heard. Just look it up on Spotify. It is fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I've heard it. It's very good.
But I would yeah, no, I'd agree.
Yeah,
I was going to bring something else.
Don't you also feel the kind of there's like an arrogance in you being like, oh yeah, loads of famous people kill themselves and like can't handle it and it fucks them
But
up.
I'm different.
But I'm different. Like, give me that fucking opportunity. Fucking, I'll just be like, yeah.
I wouldn't let it go to my head.
Yeah, I would. But then you would fucking you'd die at 32 probably.
Yeah, I would be one of the what's the club called?
27 Club.
27 Club.
Yeah.
Crikey, we're ticking on, mate. We need to get some more views on the
We
podcast.
really do. Like, it's steadily going up, but like at 10 per episode. Like, it's not. We need to be going.
Well, I've thought about this in an incredibly egotistical way. In that if we were to make it in any way, I would definitely be like the weird recluse of it. Because I can imagine us doing. I hate the idea of doing talk shows or something like that. You love the limelight. I don't really like the limelight. I think I'd be that weird kind of guy which would be an interesting dynamic, having a comedy duo that one of them you never see.
Yeah, well, that happens a lot
In a show. Yeah.
You know, Evan Goldberg, Seth Rogen's writing partner.
Oh, yeah,
see
true.
him,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, and I back guys like that.
Yeah, that seems the way to nail fame and shit.
Yeah, definitely. It's like do the stuff that you love
Yeah,
without all the nonsense in between.
Oh, it's like Jeff
But then
Goldblum's having a party at his house, and it's like,
well, no, but you don't know.
and it's like we can only have 30 people. You call Seth, and he's like, "Can I bring Evan?" It's like,
And it's a no.
and it's like, look,
Crikey.
dude, we've got fucking Julianne Moore's here. Like, it's fucking a real deal.
I'll be at home meditating and finding my own spiritual
Yeah,
enlightenment.
but who are you going to tell about that? Who cares?
No, not Jeff Goldblum.
Also,
Not Jeff Goldblum.
so let's take the Evan Goldberg, Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen comes out and denounces capitalism and chooses meditation. I'm listening. Evan Goldberg comes out. I'm like, who the fuck are you, mate, to fucking tell me? Do you know what I mean?
But sure.
It's like Evan Goldberg says, oh, it's not. Yeah, you say that, mate, because you're not on fucking, you know.
Then Evan Goldberg wouldn't be out there trying to change the minds of the people because it's a very intimate and individual thing.
Pussy bitch.
Yeah. Which again is a fair argument.
Yeah.
It's a fair argument.
Well, we never actually got your opinion on the US elections because you were working during the election special. So now we can come back and finally, people have been waiting desperately to hear what you're taking. Can we do? This is going to be a bit of improv, but can you? There's a TV screen, and the moment Joe Biden wins, can we see your reaction? Can you recreate that?
Do you want my actual reaction from? Would you like me to
just recreate what you like?
When I found out?
Yeah. Okay. And just coming in from Michigan, Joe Biden is the new president-elect. So Andrew, for those listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, he just did a slight raise of the eyebrow. I assume is a biting satire on the kind of back to business kind of centrism that, you know, will eventually lead to no real change and is not a solution to any of our problems.
A combination of that, and it was pretty obvious it was going to happen after quite a few days of it being waiting, and then the projections were pretty clear it was going to happen, other than Trump spouting out all of his stuff over the internet.
He does, yeah.
He was going to win.
He does that a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah, crikey, that's a hot take. But yeah, no. Well, one, I think it's the best possible result in terms of we discussed this beforehand because you said a little part of you kind of wants him to win because of the drama that will unfold.
Sure.
I don't want that because I care about people. You know, I care about
You're a good person.
Humanity.
You're a good person.
But the whole thing, but we're also going to get Trump contesting the vote. Putting his lawyers, doing the whole thing that it was rigged, etc., looking at different ballots and trying to suggest that the whole American political voting system is fraud. That's enough drama for me. That's enough drama for me. I like the Biden's one. We're going to get some fun little legal battles.
Sure.
It is good to see Trump kind of self-implode. But I would also agree, it's a weird time because it's this ecstatic relief that's going across America and a lot of the world of... It's a relief of, it's a lesser of two evils, definitely. But when you actually, what I've been doing a lot is looking at, do you remember when Biden was like this revered guy after Obama finished?
When all those BuzzFeed video compilations of him,
Hashtag,
aren't Obama
they so
and
cute,
It's like, they fucking flatten the Middle East with drone strikes, and it's like, oh my God, cute!
Yeah, but did you see them running through the White House again? I'm not sure you're getting the point. Yeah, all right, sure.
So cute. And we also know Biden actually, now we found out that Obama wasn't the only one he was hugging. Biden actually just fucking loves hugging anyone who's good looking.
Yeah. A special hug.
There's a special hug.
The special Biden hug.
Yeah.
It's a sex position.
What's that then?
It's when you reach around the back of a woman. You're an elderly man.
So is that you have to be an elderly man, or can you role play?
No, you have to be an elderly man.
Okay, yeah.
Well, maybe you can role play. Open to interpretation.
Sure.
It's early days for the position.
Okay.
And then you fall asleep mid-sex.
Just give her the Biden.
The 1, 2, 3.
Do you come?
Reach around, be elderly, and fall asleep.
Do you come?
No.
Neither of you come.
Both of you come. No, neither of you come. You know what? I don't know. You decide.
Cool then.
Neither of you come. Yeah, that would make the most sense. Because because all you're doing is reaching around and then falling asleep.
Yeah. Okay. So
but the woman doesn't fall asleep.
Yeah. Anyway,
the woman's underage.
Yeah. Okay. But that was a slight tangent. But you were saying what you felt about.
Yeah, that's what I feel about the US election.
What the Biden sex position.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Look, if you want my take, then criticize.
Yeah. Good.
I think the thing about this election has been the change in how the office is viewed in the US. So, like with Biden coming back in, what I was saying with the whole YouTube video thing of looking back at Obama, when there was an esteem for the office of the US presidency, and you look at a lot of commentators, they're happy that Biden's come in because it's almost like they're giving valor / confidence, decency back into the office, and Biden seems to be creating, bringing that back rather than the ridiculousness of Trump. Yeah,
because I was thinking about this, maybe even for stand up, that the way that the US view their leaders compared to how the UK view their leaders is quite different and funny to me, because it's like in America, the president is the boss. Like if he's good or bad, he's the boss. Like
The Apprentice.
Yeah, The Apprentice. It's not even that. It's like Donald Trump, if he does something bad, it's they talk about it as you would if you had a shitty boss. Like he's a tyrant.
Yeah, that's
true. He's putting kids in cages. The way they talked about that was like, I'm in this awful job and my boss is abusive.
He has supreme power over
the way that commentators talk about Trump is like they're complaining to HR about their abusive boss. He's like a sex pest who fondles you by the photocopier.
He's abusing his power.
You're abusing his power. Some people like the boss, some people don't like the boss. It's not about whether they like him or not. It's just the way the power dynamic is between them. But then in the UK, what I find funny is that we have there's no real respect for the office like there is in America, because in the UK it's like we're all
that
the
sentence
boss.
Doesn't even exist in the UK.
Yeah, it's like
respect for the office. What the fuck does that
it's like
mean?
bringing back respect that we don't.
Yeah.
Instead, the prime minister, it's like we're all the boss and he's our one shitty employee. Do you know what I mean? It's like in America, Trump, he's a oppressive boss. He put kids in cages. Here, it's like, Boris, you forgot to feed the kids again. Oh, sorry. He's literally like an intern spilling coffee everywhere. And it's like, because we have a queen who's where we put all of our esteem. She does nothing. It's like,
that's
this
where the
is
supreme
the
power
this is
goes.
The supreme. Instead, we have the prime minister, who we forget has power because he just seems like a guy who's doing us a service, this sort of bureaucrat who's just shit at his job, and it's just even the manner in which constantly, Boris Johnson has decisively done things like, we're not going to, like the feeding kids thing. And then Marcus Rashford's like, actually, could you feed kids? He's like, oh, okay, sorry.
Which I think is it's almost like the idea of incompetency or competency.
Yeah.
It's like the US president is very frequently incompetent. They're malicious in their power. Whereas because of when you view the UK's politics like that, they're only ever incompetent.
Yeah.
Because they're not executing the general will well enough.
It's like they're less malicious because when they do wrongdoing, we seem to brand
We blame
them.
ourselves.
We like, why do we choose this cunt to run this thing? And it's like, it's not.
It's like we fucked it. God, for fuck's sake.
Why is this guy? Come on, mate. You're the one who's pushing the buttons. Are you going to do a fucking... Oh, I'm sorry, I'll do it. And like, even like Prime Minister's questions where you have like people from the public, sending in questions. It's always like, oh, I'm so sorry what's happening to you at the moment. We're doing all we can. No, you're not, you piece of shit. But then it's like, in America, it's like, even after they finish office, it's like, Mr. President. It's like, there's a respect for the office that...
Yeah. Whereas our guys just get a column in the Sun and then kind of go into the private equity firms in the Seychelles, and then we just tell them to fuck off.
Yeah, exactly.
It feels like there's a lot of relief in the air. Isn't that lovely? You know, the prick's gone, etc. But the
dragon is vanquished,
if you will, by an elderly man.
Yeah,
it was funny just watching
Biden, dragon killer.
Keep it down a little bit.
No, sorry.
Too much fun.
But the thing that I will like, the thing that I'm enjoying the most about it is that I'm kind of fed up of watching people. It's almost like not even because Trump himself is entertaining in the news. But because he's so entertaining in the news, it means the people that commentate on the news, so like someone like Colbert or someone who I do quite like watching, they just become boring.
Yeah,
because
so boring.
That's what I'm looking forward to, not seeing them talk about him anymore. Yeah. And even just so there was a bit.
We've shown them up for the scumbag frauds they are.
What, Colbert and
all of them?
They're all scumbag frauds.
All fucking lizard people. Go on.
Can I ask?
Go on.
Can I ask why?
It's not the question. It's part of the show, actually.
Because it's already more refreshing. Because there's better satire immediately. Because have you seen when Biden comes out to make his presidential elect speech, his first succession acceptance speech, and he does this little run out. Have you seen that? It's fucking great. Yeah. And instantly, because it's a lot more, because he's trying. There's more sincerity, and he isn't Trump with the onslaught of objective reality and normality that he brought in. Yeah. We can have a bit more fun. It's now it's funnier now. Yeah. I laugh at Biden running out because he's doing it with some sincerity. With Trump, he was meaning to be as obnoxious and obscene as possible, and you can't really laugh at him because it's too ridiculous.
Yeah, but I feel like we're probably going to head back to the stage that was like with Blair and Obama a little bit. Apart from the events around those two ideologies have changed so much, it's going to be weirder and more intense, I think. But there's an argument to be said that Trump's sort of fake reality, where he just said things that had no correlation with reality, was much like Adam Curtis's idea of like hypernormalization, which is from the Soviet Union.
That's what you've been watching upstairs.
Getting feral!
Adam Curtis documentaries.
But
have you heard about hypernormalization, actually? Oh my God.
But the idea of hypernormalization came from the Soviet Union, which was like, everyone knew everything they were being told was a lie. Near the end of the Soviet Union, it was clear that it was a lie. But at least amongst the Soviet public, they all knew it was a lie because it was so clearly a lie, because they could just look outside the window and could see it's not true. Yeah. When you reach the sort of Obama, Biden, Blair, Clinton thing, where they present reality as if it is reality and it is a lie, then there are issues that come with that.
Therefore, QAnon.
Pizzagate.
I get it. Yeah, keep going, man.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? That it's like, Trump is so
it's
clearly...
a false presentation.
Trump is so clearly lying that you can accept that none of it's true. But Biden is talking as if he's telling the truth, and it is still bullshit.
Which is, so that was the big thing that Trump came into, as in the kind of the idea that he was able to run successfully of is the anti-establishment idea of, I'm a guy who's out here, I'm not writing speeches, I'm saying it off the cuff, and I'm saying, because he's saying so ridiculous things, it's like he can't be part of the establishment lying to us. He can't be part of the political class. Yeah. He's one of us, which is the greatest lie in itself, because he's not. He's a fucking billionaire who is aggressively right wing and really isn't going to help the people, the lowest off, the worst off people in society.
But then arguably,
which is a problem.
Yeah, but then arguably so like obviously I'm happy Biden won, even though it's embarrassing seeing some liberals celebrate it as if he's got any answers. It's like fucking. But it's more goodbye Trump.
It's more just a relief. Though?
No. So there's people who are now trying to reframe Biden as like an actual decent person, and he can present that way. But if you look at his record on just over, he's been.
Oh, no doubt.
We're talking about trying to end the issues in. Biden's had his turn. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like we're talking about, we've got all these issues, and it's like when you saw Justin Trudeau at the front of the climate change protest. There was like a climate change protest, and he was like, mate, you're in charge.
Yeah.
What are you?
He's protesting against himself.
It's like, this is ridiculous what we're doing. You're the fucking boss.
Yeah.
And it's just like the idea that we have all of these issues that liberals constantly complain about, and it's now a guy who's been in and around politics for 50 years. He was Vice President Obama. It's like, what is he gonna do? It's a bit sickening seeing on Twitter people trying to view Biden as anything other than a president who has no solutions.
Yeah.
And I find that a bit embarrassing, to be honest.
Well, part of it is that, of course, we look at his old record, which is obviously shit. And I mean, obviously, he's just another centrist establishment figure that's coming in, and there's not going to be any significant change.
Yeah.
It's just like the discontinuation of terrible change.
Yeah, fine.
So there is something to celebrate, a little bit in that.
Paris Agreement, he's going to stop the repealing of Obamacare.
But it's more just like the atmosphere that's been around the world in America. It's just like, there's so much hate going around.
Yeah.
And I do honestly, like, I do like the idea that we're getting him out.
Yeah,
and although, of course, he hasn't got the answers, but it is just, and the lesser of two evils is something to celebrate for the first week.
Yeah.
And then, because a lot of his campaign has been run on, I'm not Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So we don't
it's
really
like the
know a lot.
least inspiring campaign.
Exactly. For one of the most least inspiring people.
But then what is interesting about the Trump administration is that he's complete kryptonite to liberals because he is politically incorrect. He says things that like they wouldn't dream of. He reflects an America that they're desperately trying to get away from. But in a way, Trump's presidency was far less damaging than a Bush presidency or a Reagan presidency.
Absolutely.
And like, yes, it's nice not to
because he didn't have an economic doctrine.
And it's also nice to not have any. But if you look at the actual 4 years he's been in, the Kids in Cages was bad. But people take that out. No, but they I
know it's just a funny comment to have to be making. After
okay,
sure. The whole Kids in Cages thing was an issue.
But the way that liberals talk, I mean, this happens across the board from centrists when they talk about the kids in cages, and it's like, obviously that's terrible, but let's not blow out of proportion when we talk about the fucking Iraq war, or like something that we need to have some perspective, or like with the Corbyn thing, anti-Semitism, that report, we're not going to go into that now, but the day of greatest shame in the Labour Party.
Yeah.
What about the fucking Iraq war, you maniacs? What about when 1 million people died for no fucking reason?
Yeah.
It's like having some perspective. A lot of my feralness has been in my room just being infuriated by these fucking... I hope there's like some...
Is this what you're talking about when you message me?
I hope there's some points of shame for some people on Twitter over the last fucking year. Like, I hope in the way that we're pulling up comedians for telling jokes that might not have landed and might have been slightly offensive, trying to ruin their entire careers. I hope we do that for some of you performative little cunts who during this whole time on Twitter have been doing some of the most embarrassing virtue signaling I've ever seen. I hope some comedians watch this, and some of you should be fucking ashamed of yourself. What, you're trying to get out of it?
I thought you wanted to make a point.
Which
I entirely agree with. Okay, but I think what you also need to remember or think about is the thing, like our ideas. So the thing about the division that Trump has caused and like polarization, these kind of things, and how divisive he is as a president has made the world a lot more a divisive place, and that's causing a lot of anguish, a lot of difficult stuff, and So, because I'm caught in two minds about it, because I think I'm enjoying the moment for now to a certain extent, because I'm much more of the, we need to expose the contradictions of the system in order for us to rise up and do this. But there is also a place for, but that has to be as the people against power rather than someone who then causes this divide against people that shouldn't be divided.
Yeah.
And that's the worst thing that he does. And the power of that is fucking huge. Because if you look at people's something like, I think, good Lord, I'm not going to remember the number. As we all know, I can't remember numbers. But it was something like 67 or 87. Between those two things, Republicans voters believed that the election was rigged. His ideas, so the nonsense he spouts out isn't just, it's not necessarily damaging like the Iraq wars or Reagan was for the lower class. They're damaging because it's completely changing the way that people are thinking towards themselves and each other in this political world that we live in, which can have fucking long-term consequences. Because the more we get into those tribes of artificial difference, the further away we can be from realizing that the problem is elsewhere.
Yeah, but I completely agree with that. But I'm also the left needs to understand the problem is the divisions, and there needs to be a change in some of the liberal left, that they need to accept some responsibility for the divisiveness.
Absolutely.
And how illogical and the hatred.
He's an easy pinata.
He's an easy pinata, but he's encouraging hate from the right. But the hatred and the irrationality and the borderline fascism of some of the people on the left, I think we have these weird. There's a lot of these weird arguments that are coming in from the left that are slowly getting normalized as if they're not mental. This idea that looting is good, and the idea that we could just all cops are bad, and then it's oh, you don't get it, and it's what are you actually saying? Do you really think that? Or defund the police? It's oh no, that's not what we actually mean. Then say what you fucking mean and stop making it more divisive than it already is. Do you know what I mean? Just the language they use, the hatred they have, calling Trump Hitler or a Nazi. It's that's an insult to people who've actually suffered Nazism. Trump is an egomaniac. Trump has done terrible things, but it's nowhere near the level of what they're saying. It's not even near George Bush.
So
anyway, so the vaccines come out.
Well, it hasn't come out, has it?
Well, yeah, so what are your thoughts on the vaccine?
So I have been speaking to many people about this vaccine because I know a few people in the pharmaceutical industry.
Do you?
No, not really. But I've no
Big Pharma.
Big Pharma, the Xerox. That's the photocopier, isn't it? But it's exciting news, I guess. But if you look at it, so a lot of the experts are saying that they haven't actually published any data about it. So when you put out a study, you need to publish the fucking data that goes behind it. Otherwise, you're just saying, I can cure cancer. Yeah. Great. Show us how you did it. Show us that it actually works. There's so many fucking issues with it. A lot of issues with it. There was a big thing about whether they've controlled for different age groups. And the biggest problem, obviously, long-term effects. Most vaccines that get put out into the world are going to take around 8 years with human trials before they're readily available for the public. But because everyone's so fed up of coronavirus and lockdown, it's one of the vaccines that probably is the easiest to slip through the cracks of actually being tested genuinely so it could get out there. Because I think it's obviously it's great, but I'm genuinely quite skeptical of actually using it. We don't know what it is and what can happen from it. And
can you go on record that you're an anti-vaxxer?
Absolutely.
So here at Boys Gone Wild, we are anti-vaxxers.
We are against all kinds of vaccines.
Don't vaccinate your children. It is the lizard people trying to control us through mind control.
Mind control. Yeah. You need to think about the mind
control.
It's
the liberal elites who are using
Trump juice.
It's
Trump juice.
Trump juice. I haven't heard that, but that perfectly sums up what I was trying to say.
Who needs vitamin D when you're getting your Trump juice?
You're getting your Trump juice. Oh wait, so are you saying that's the right who would...
Well, because I've already had some.
Oh, okay.
Maybe they've been putting it in our vitamins. That's going way too far down a track.
You aren't ready for that. Subscribe to the Patreon.
Well, maybe, yeah. So obviously there's the mind control. Right, which is what the frustrating thing is, because I believe it's a dangerous thing. Absolutely. I think there should be more of a conversation about the fact that it is a dangerous thing because of the rush we're in to get this vaccine. It's not going to go through the normal procedures that medicine goes through in order to get a vaccine out into the general public. The problem with that is you get fucking Dave on Twitter saying that it's going to kill your babies and turn them into gypsies. Is there any other travelers? Sorry. Travellers, yeah, no, definitely. Gypsies is not a good thing to say.
Don't they call themselves gypsies? I guess that's not a good
that's not the thing. That's me eating my words.
Let's get another guest on. This one's been cancelled.
It's been good. But so yeah, you get Dave on Twitter saying that if you inject the vaccine into your legs, if you inject the vaccine, your legs are going to turn to jelly.
Because people might want to find some more.
At Dave, vaccines are for deniers.
Friend of the show. We'll get him on next week.
He'll be there. Yeah. He looks exactly how you imagine it to look. But so that argument of there's obviously a lack of normal protocol that's going on here has now been conjoined with the argument of vaccines will turn your eyebrows into worms. So you can't actually, it's a tough one to make.
Yeah.
But I'm skeptical of it. I think it's really dangerous, and I don't know if I'd take one.
I mean, it's like...
I wouldn't anyway, because I'm 23
you're 20.
and the prime of my health.
I mean, we've got to fucking get out of lockdown.
Who needs a vaccine when you're taking vitamin D?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what we all need to remember.
That's what Joe Rogan says. He's like, don't worry about it. Just go for a jog, and you won't get COVID.
yeah, that's pretty poor for me. Not great.
It was weird that there was a notification that they've probably found the vaccine,
Which is ridiculous.
When I was thinking of what it would be like when I found out they'd had the vaccine, I was thinking it'd be this outpouring of joy. But
I just think you'd be feral in your room.
I just didn't. It doesn't feel like it's
coffin.
there's a light at the end. It doesn't feel like it would work
because
like
there's not.
Yeah,
and I think we should all just take a fucking step back here. And because having looked into it from after hearing the announcement, seeing the clear scientific issues of the stuff that they're presenting, how far away it is from even being proved to be as effective as the initial press release said it was, and then hearing like a day later Matt Hancock being like, not saying we will roll it out, but the NHS will be ready to roll it out at the end of fucking November. Like, we all need to chill out because COVID is terrible, obviously, but putting something unknown into your body when there's genuine no scientific evidence in order to back up the fact that it's even effective, let alone the side effects and the long-term damage it can have, holy shit, it could be so much worse. I'm just saying, let's all take a deep breath. Have a vape, have a Kit Kat, have a Nestle.
Yeah.
Let's all think about it.
Yeah, but we also need to get the fuck out of lockdown.
Yeah, absolutely, but we don't want to get out to lockdown with feet for hands and hands for feet.
I think it's a... it's a bit of a... I'm tossing it up.
No, it's not, because long-term effects. You think
how bad the feet
what was
for
that
hands?
drug? What was that drug that made... I'm not saying it will do, because that's why it sounds like I'm an anti-vaxxer. I know it does, but I'm not. But there was that drug?
Trump 2024.
I didn't say it, you did. But what was that? What was the fucking thing?
We're all thinking it.
Where like it made fetuses...
Oh yeah, no, there's a famous one. I don't know what it is, but there's like the famous one.
Put it up on the screen. That is initially seen as a good drug that's going to do fantastic things for humanity, but it doesn't, because we don't know the long-term effects of things. Because when you're putting something into your body that is meant to do biologically change the balance of your body... When you can't have a longitudinal study about the long-term effects, we have to accept we don't know what they are. When we accept that we don't know what they are, we are putting something potentially dangerous in there. Yeah. So all I'm saying, I'm not saying I'm completely against it. I'd say I'd definitely be very skeptical about taking it. I don't think I would. Yeah. Especially after all the lack of evidence and stuff that's happening. Yeah. But I'm just calling for a deep breath, and let's actually think about, although lockdown's shit right now, is this the best way to get out of it?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of other vaccines that are being made at the same time, and maybe we should push it more time. But I think it's almost mad we've even gone into a second lockdown when it's like we know how bad this disease is, and it's not actually as bad as we first thought it was going to be. Like when the first lockdown was completely fair because we had no idea what we were dealing with. We know what we're dealing with now. We know that we're not at risk. And also
that you carry.
Yeah, but I'm saying there is now a point where the economy, and I know people on the left like to pretend the economy is like...
Which is nonsense.
Yeah. It's like, how do you think we have healthcare?
Recessions kill thousands of people.
Yeah, and also like having no fucking... tax revenue from a healthy economy means we don't have the fucking
people
NHS.
Become unemployed, people become homeless,
the
people
NHS
die.
The NHS is great, but like finance sucks. But it's like we still need fucking money to run that shit, and it's like not having a healthy conversation on the left about how like damaging this is for
I agree.
business, small businesses, like the people who you'd be championing anyway, and like letting that all go to fuck. I just think we need to have a bit of fucking.
I completely agree with that. Like the left wing.
Let's stop talking about the economy. It's all the economy.
Yeah,
because it's fucking
because
important.
it kills people. Like, because that's what I really haven't got that of when just like because it's a lazy criticism of Boris Johnson and the Conservative government to say that their prioritising of the economy has allowed people to die.
Yeah.
Come on, you realise if you actually understood the importance of the economy for people living, i.e. in like good conditions that. Just not good conditions versus also people fucking dying. There's a thing about numbers. But the 2008 financial crisis, tens of thousands of people died because of that. In the Great Depression, probably in the millions.
Yeah.
People die because of the economy. Therefore, it is an important thing. So we have to balance it.
But it's because it's such a because of the democracy we work in. It's like they're trying to get re-elected.
If you can call it that.
You know, they're trying to get re-elected, and so they don't want to do anything that they can like clearly say the blood's on their hands in the way that if people die from COVID, that's your fault, Boris. But if people die from a severe recession, that's not your fault. So it's a
much better criticism that the left should actually take.
And it's like it's also that we're completely in rings about having a genuine conversation about this.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I don't know the answer, but I want a fucking real debate.
What the fuck are you doing up here when you're in your room by yourself being feral?
I'm looking for it. I'm looking for it.
Honestly, there's just bits of paper everywhere across this wall behind the camera. I'm
trying to find it.
Anyway, just coronavirus, the economy, but...
well, I've said some things during this episode. I felt imbued with a thing that at least I'm saying what I think. But, you know, there is a big risk that I don't think that in a couple of months'
if you
time.
Cancel
and it
him,
might come back to
If you cancel him, can you not cancel me?
What's there to cancel, Drew?
I don't know.
What? I don't know. What happens if I'm cancelled?
Horatio, the episode is over.
What happens if I'm cancelled?
You were wrapping up.
I'm just saying.
You were wrapping up.
You can't cancel. If I'm cancelled, you're cancelled.
You're oppressed as a feral man. Yeah. You're like one of those people that
are
are being
you
brought
getting
up
on the
by wolves.
If I'm gone, what are you doing?
What are you if I'm not here?
You're tied to this fucking ship, mate. So if it goes down, you're coming down with me, boy. I don't know. I mean, what the fuck is a career anyway? I don't, you know.
Let's not end the episode with a meltdown. You are fucking unhinged. I love it. I love it.
You know, I subscribe to the Patreon. And maybe I'll become, less feral. We'll hopefully be trying to put... Now we should be trying to put some more episodes on there.
Because we got nothing else to do.
Because we got nothing fucking else to do. This is only this is the surface level. I'll be even more unhinged on there because it's guaranteed there's 4 people.
I'm going to be more unhinged on the Patreon. There's a fun lockdown story.
Yeah, there's a fun lockdown story that you can do if you go to Patreon/BoysGoneWild. Do subscribe.
If you want to find out how I ripped this hoodie,
then go on the Patreon. He's ripped the bottom of his hoodie for people who are listening. Okay.
But how did he do it?
How did he do it? How does he do it?
Subscribe.
All right. Do you want to sum this up?
Yeah. Give me the breakdown.
We talked about me going feral in my room. Vitamins. We talked about the US elections, Biden, Sleepy Joe, fucking liberal cucks, and then we talked about being anti-vaxxers, and the conclusion was Trump 2024.
Make it a bit more succinct rather than just
Trump 2024.
Okay. It's a tough time for all of us out there.
That's how you open nearly. That's how you open all.
That is very true.
It's a tough time for all of us, but for you, fine. Okay, go on. It's a tough time.
Hey, it works. It gives the illusion of organisation. I can't think of a different first line.
Go on. Just fucking. It doesn't matter.
Lockdown has different effects on us all. It can be a time when you master your own productivity and become the person that you want to be, or you can stay upstairs in your room, become a feral animal. Having that might produce some quite aggressive beliefs, and then when you get on a podcast, want to shout them out to the world. Mm-hmm. But taking your vitamin D on a regular basis and never touching a vaccine will guarantee both yourself and your kids' safety for the future. Never put a vaccine in your body.
Trump 2024. Thank you very much for listening, guys. See you next week.